that. I've always been interested in entertainment and acting. Growing up, I was in theater classes. I also took a lot of art classes, so I've always been drawn to visual media and painting and drawing and photography and love stage acting. I didn't really have that much exposure to filmmaking growing up, but always leaned towards creative projects. And then if I had free time, it usually was doing something creative. Not necessarily. I did a lot of different media, and I think I always enjoyed that. So I did photography, I did drawing, painting. I also did some 3D ceramic work, uh, and also really enjoyed acting in in schools. uh, in an initial pitch or initial call you have with the client, it is a good idea to find out what their budgets are, um, because that might, there might be some locations that offhand won't be a good fit for them. There are some costs that are just costs that have to be paid, whether it be permitting or police, barricade plans, and that type of thing. So it budgets are a little more flexible if you're smaller. If you're doing a bigger commercial shoot, some of those prices are just locked in, but it is a good idea to find out from the client beforehand what their budgets are. Obviously, if you're going to a location that makes a lot of money and you're going to be impacting them, they're going to lose revenue, or if, then obviously you're going to pay more. You could always look at it as well as, maybe you could film in off hours. That's another way, like if someone has a lower budget. Um, but the projects I tend to work on, sometimes they're not in control of their schedule, so sometimes that's not really an option either. It's nothing to be intimidated about. I think the biggest hurdle is a lot of times it's really organization on the creative side, and it could be the agency side as well, and just allowing enough time. Sometimes a producer might, I'm not that familiar with LA and New York, but sometimes what I've heard is their permitting is a little bit faster. They have offices that are just for filming. A lot of our permitting goes through business licensing, so it can take a little bit longer. But it's nothing to be intimidated about. Most of the time, it's people not having enough time to plan for what they want to do. So I think it's just making sure you have your producer has a production calendar, that you're aware what those dates are. And then, as a location manager, you can help them, should be in like my wheelhouse would be to advise someone, if they have enough time, or, maybe they need more time, or maybe Nevada isn't the right fit for them for permitting. So that's where a location manager can help you with those kind of questions. But it's nothing intimidating. It's really, you just have to have enough time to get paperwork in. A lot of I would say my ability comes, I've lived here for over 25 years, so I know what the city looks like. I know, I know the mountains, I know the lake, I know the city, I know downtown. I've seen the city grow. So I just have an innate ability to kind of know where certain things are in the city. The longer you've lived here, the more you have that knowledge. Also, just from being in the visual media, I sort of know when someone's describing a house, or the way a house were to feel, or if they're looking for a bar, the type of person that would go, what demographic would go into that bar. So some of it is just living somewhere for a long time, and then also understanding visually how a place can communicate a feeling. Also, Las Vegas, we get a lot of, I would say, like film tourism. So people are really coming here to capture Las Vegas. So, I know what the casinos look like. I'm familiar with the strip and the roads. I also do a lot of filming, with roads and cars. So I have, knowledge of like the desert roads, and then just, driving on the downtown and in the city. So over time, you just build up in your mind a good places to film for those projects. Favorite place. I just did a shoot in November and we went up. It's not somewhere I film a lot because it does take longer permitting. But we filmed in Mount Charleston and we filmed a lot of roads out there and they're quite beautiful. It just takes quite a bit of permitting time. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that, but it was really beautiful. Everything from straight desert roads out there to curvy roads with pine trees. It's just really gorgeous up there. Just find it to be a really interesting city. I think it has a lot of opportunities too. It's somewhere that's always changing. Um, and I think there's a little bit of there's a Vegas is sort of what would you call it? It's like people love to hate it a little bit. Although we're this huge tourist destination, I sort of like that. I like being somewhere where, you know, I don't know, it's not easily understood. I think that's interesting. And I also think it's interesting that it's constantly changing. I mean, even since I was in school here, there's now, we didn't have even downtown. I mean, the whole Main Street is different. There's more places for locals. There's more places for live theater. So living here, you're in a city that's developing, which is not for a lot of people. A lot of people, and I get that. If you're in an established city, there's more history, um, but being in a city like this, the unexpected happens, really. Like so now we're gonna get um, baseball here. We've had a lot of influx of sports. Those aren't things I ever thought I would work on, but they've sort of evolved here in Vegas. And if you're in film, you can end up working in those fields. The other thing too, it's um, other cities, maybe they may are just more like just for commercials or just for feature films. Where in Vegas, there's a lot of different work. So there's people who might just be working in conventions, when they're doing filmmaking for convention work. There's people that do commercials. There's obviously a small amount of features and TV shows that film here, but not as many. So I think it's an interesting place to work. Day. And a lot of people, they actually don't enjoy that. I actually really love that. At the same time with location scouting, I'm one of the few crew people that I usually start on a project before most of those people are onboarded, like camera department. So I'm working on the project before I'm working by myself. So I enjoy that. And then I'm also mostly dealing with a lot of crew people will never interact with anyone else besides the crew on set during that shoot, where I am sort of the liaison. So I'm a liaison to the public. And that, I enjoy that. There's part of me where I love, if I'm go out scouting bars, like going in, meeting people who are running those bars, finding out what their stories are. Um, and all of that where maybe someone would enjoy that. I like doing the emails. I like communicating, I don't mind. I end up doing the contracts, and, getting insurance. So I'm always the point person for, I would say, the outside world for the film crew. And I'm good at that. And I enjoy that. So I think that probably the pre-scouting process is my favorite part of being a location manager, and it's kind of kept me doing it, is that excitement of and finding new places. Basically, when you've just found like a great logistical spot or you figured something out, it's always a puzzle, and so I enjoy that. I don't mind having sort of like walking into that unknown and figuring those things out. It's part of the job I like, versus doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know if I'd be quite as good at something at a job like that. It's just not my innate ability.